we are 10 months in, and we were thinking about the kinds of things that we want to share when we get to our year. And one of those things is that we want to do a Q&A and answer questions from you guys about anything from our last year of living a life on the road. But there are a few questions that we get a lot and all the time. So we wanted to do a quick video, a quick Q&A, answer those questions now. And that way, for our 1 year Q&A, we can answer some of the more different questions you guys have about the different places we've been, about our RV, about what it's like to live in an RV, whatever questions you have. But this video is going to be about kind of the top, five or six
yeah.
that we get.
You know, our hope is that we not only entertain you, but we're encouraging you, inspiring you, and also educating you on some of the things that we've had to maybe learn the hard way, and then some of the things that we have figured out that have worked well too. To get started, the first question we have.
Question number 1.
There's a lot of steps that led up to it, but ultimately the biggest goal for us was more family time. We both had corporate careers where they weren't necessarily 9 to 5s. They were like 9 to 9s, 9 to 11s. And we found ourselves with very little family time that also wasn't consistent. And so we had an opportunity to go on a sabbatical to New Zealand and Australia for 6 weeks. We had never spent that much time together, consistently ever. And then think about that, being with your family 24/7 for 6 weeks.
And some of you may be going like, "What? No, that does not sound awesome."
We had no idea what we were getting into because we had never done that before.
But we found out that for us, it was awesome. And that was something that propelled us into our thinking of, we need to make this happen on a more regular basis.
We were out there hiking and canoeing, exploring, and taking boat rides and just immersing ourselves in other cultures and watching Cade grow up in front of our eyes. And we craved that. We were we were just so taken by how amazing the experience was.
Yeah.
We knew when we got back, we needed to find a way to live more like we did in those 6 weeks than we had been in the last 2 years.
So we asked ourselves one simple question. If you had everything you needed to make a change, would you?
So we basically called BS on ourselves and put in motion a plan to be where we didn't exactly know we would end up here at the time, but
we knew we had to make some big changes in order to create the life that we wanted to live. Question number 2.
So this is the nuts and bolts of it. I mean, there's no right or wrong to how you make changes, and changes are uncomfortable. You know, we're like everybody else. We had to fight fear. We had to make some plans. We had to take some risks to make this happen. But ultimately, our first step was to put our house on the market. The house was like an anchor.
Yeah.
And so was all the stuff inside.
Yeah, more so the stuff inside.
So we put our house on the market, and that was step 1. And then through the selling process, we were out back on our patio one night and we were chatting about our options. I felt just this sense of wanderlust, for lack of just wanting to experience and see other towns versus just saying we're going to go from one city to another.
Right, because basically we would have sold one house in one area, bought another house in a new area. And even with new plans, you just kind of settle into your old habits when you get into the same situation. And so I think that's where you were feeling a bit of apprehension about that being our next move.
Knowing family was the focus, would we really still be able to focus on family?
Right.
So I asked Spencer.
And apparently she had been thinking about this for a while, which I did not know.
So we were at that fire and I put it out there. I said, what if we traveled for a while? I mentioned a few ideas and I said, what if we got an Airbnb for 3 months in each time zone? What if we went to a different country and rented a place for 6 months? I said, what if we lived in an RV and traveled the country?
Mind you, I was a hardcore hotel person. No camping for me. That was not something that I would have considered, because hotels exist for a reason, right? That was my mindset.
So he gets really quiet, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, he's gonna blow this by.
And then I kind of thought about it and was like, okay, what if we did?
I mean, he kind of called my bluff. I really wasn't expecting that. I hadn't really thought it all the way through of what it would actually be like to live in an RV and travel the country.
But we had decided to make big changes. And for me to say no to that wouldn't be me changing. That would be me staying the same and not being willing to take a risk, not being willing to get out of my or our comfort zone. And those are the things that we realized we really needed to do in order to make this big change that we wanted to make.
What we had to do was fight the fear. You were really optimistic about it, where I had a little bit more fear. And the way we were able to like fight the fear or debunk the fear was to actually like put out fear scenarios and then find the solution. And once you found the solution, it wasn't that scary.
Yeah, so I read this in a book from Tim Ferriss, and he calls it fear setting. And so in any situation, there are reasons not to do something or not to make a decision or not to make a change. And a lot of that boils down to fear. You talk through kind of the worst case scenario, like a lot of the concern was, you know, we're very social people. We like to hang out with people and hang out with our friends and our family. And would we get lonely on the road, or would Cade be lonely on the road? And, you know, kind of the worst thing, or the worst part of that would be, yes, we're extremely lonely on the road and this lifestyle isn't for us.
We knew we would never regret the time together on this journey and adventure, and we said we were going to set out for a year, maybe longer. And if we didn't like it in 3 months, okay. We had 3 months together on the road, seeing beautiful places in the country, and then we decide to have roots somewhere along the way or head back to Maryland. So I think that was really, once we were able to like debunk our fears to have a little bit of a plan, that really helped us. When we first decided to travel full time, we started researching, and we found that there are so many families that are already doing this. Some families have their own businesses. Some families do what's called work camping.
Yep. Where you go to campsites and they have work opportunities that you can do, whether it's helping with the check-in process in the office or just general maintenance around the campground. But work camping is a way to offset your campground costs.
But for us, we actually decided to leave our corporate careers and start our own businesses. Our background is in marketing and product marketing. So we essentially have a marketing agency where we help small businesses with all of their marketing needs. We've also launched our own adventure brand. You're watching it, AdventurtunityFamily, where our goal again is to just share our adventures, inspire families to create that family time. And in doing so, we share cool places we go to, awesome products and services we use. And then through working with some of those brands, we create content for those brands.
It's a lot of taking pictures. It's a lot of videos.
Again, every family is different. For us, our schedule really looks like I get up early in the morning and get a couple of work hours in. We fudge through the day of fun, taking turns working, education, learning with Cade, experiencing things, and then you're working at night. This isn't a vacation 24/7 like it looks.
Which we had to realize at the beginning.
Yes, that
was
was
like
an
a
adjustment.
vacation, so we had to make some adjustments.
We've just been able to find a way that our income is derived from the fun experiences and this lifestyle that we're living, which has been really key for us, that we can make a living but also focus on our family, which is ultimately the goal we've had.
Bonus question: since we need the internet to work, how do you get the internet? Because that's another huge question.
We could go into this for a long time, but June was brutal for us.
June was
absolutely brutal. We did not have internet. We had work was picking up, small businesses are picking up, the economy is picking up again, and it was rough. Thankfully, we went to the FMCA convention in Gillette and Wyoming, and we met with Internet on the Go. They let us test out their router system. And so for us, all of our phones and our hotspot are Verizon. And through the other full-timing families and families that we've met that travel a lot, they have suggested have two providers.
Two different plans. Yeah.
Predominantly AT&T and Verizon. So if one doesn't work, hopefully the other does. So we got to test out the internet on the go with an AT&T SIM card.
Yep.
Is that what you said?
Basically, it's a PepWave router, which is a router that's built for mobile use.
Yeah.
And it has an AT&T SIM card in it. And that has kind of been our savior so far.
Yes.
So we are in Montana outside of Glacier, and we don't have very good Verizon. We have enough to make a phone call, but it's not enough to get really good data.
We couldn't FaceTime or anything like that on it.
But we can get a decent AT&T signal here. So with our internet on the go router, we now have internet. We can work, and we don't have to drive into town and find a place that has good signal. So just throwing that in there as a bonus, we actually do have a discount code with Internet on the Go. So I'll put a link to that in the description if you guys are interested, because that's another huge question we get all the time is, how do you get internet?
The next question is, how much does it cost to full-time travel? And that question is going to be different for every family. We share our budget every month on our variable expenses. And then we have a bunch of fixed expenses too, which include health insurance, car insurance, RV insurance, life insurance,
lots of insurance.
Pet insurance now.
Oh,
I mean, tons of stuff. And so some families may have a pet and have pet insurance. Some families might not. Some families may have an RV payment. Some families may not. I mean, it really just depends on each individual family. But I do believe our budget kind of errs on a higher side. I think there's a lot of families out there that are doing full-time family travel for a lot less than we are. Yeah,
and there's some that are doing it for a lot more than we are too.
Right. So yeah, I think we fall somewhere in the middle. Our average variable costs each month are like $3,300 to $3,500. How it works well for us is I have an Excel spreadsheet. We track all of our receipts as we spend them. I have line items for RV gas, for groceries, dining out, firewood, propane, and so we've had to add things and modify the budget as we continue to travel.
Yep.
But we got it into a good place now.
There's no specific answer on exactly how much it costs to full-time travel. It really depends on how you want to travel. We have a lodging budget, which includes our campgrounds fees, and if we stay in a hotel for whatever reason, that would be included in there too. But some families go and boondock most of the time, so their campground stays are very minimal. So it just depends on how you like to travel.
When we stay at campgrounds, it could be anywhere from like $37 to $62 a night. But
very specific.
I manage the budget. And we also we've learned about monthly rates and weekly rates. We like to stay in a place for a longer period of time. It helps us settle in. It helps us work, experience, and rest.
Yeah.
It also reduces the amount of RV gas we have to spend, and a lot of campgrounds offer a monthly rate. So, for example, if maybe we were staying for 30 days and it was $30 a night, help me out. What's that?
$900.
So $900, but the monthly rate might be $500. So that's really what we go after and what helps us.
Yeah, and it really is determined by how you like to travel. And we didn't know how we like to travel when we started because we had never done it before. And so it took us a few months to actually settle into what worked for us and figure things out. But I think over the last 6 or 7 months, we've kind of gotten into a good groove and know where we like to go, where we like to stay, how we like to move, and all that kind of stuff. So our costs have changed over time, but we're in a pretty good groove now. Question number 5. So this one was where we chose to put our money where our house is. When we were trying to figure out the best RV for us, and obviously if you've ever looked at an RV, you know that there are 1,000,001 different kinds that you can choose from little tiny teardrops to huge Class A motorhomes. We decided that because we didn't already own a truck that had the capability to tow a travel trailer or a fifth wheel, and I did not have any experience towing anything of that size with a truck that I did not own, we decided that a motorized RV was probably the best option for us, just in terms of the way we wanted to travel.
And with a motorhome, everything is with you at all times. So if you're cold, if you want to make need a blanket, if you want to make a sandwich, if you need to use the restroom other than the driver,
Right.
we could. And so Cade still rides in a car seat, but he still has a lot more mobility to get up and use the restroom, or if we happen to be on a longer travel day, stretch his legs or something like that.
So originally we thought we were going to get a C-Class. That was where my frame of mind was, because it's sort of like driving a truck, but just like a big box truck. And I felt like it would be a little bit more comfortable to get into and drive without ever having driven something as big as a Class A.
We went to the RV show. If you haven't seen that video, you guys should check it out, because
Yeah,
you probably can see my facial
I'll put the link up here.
expressions more throughout the journey of the day. We left the show knowing that we were gonna get a C-Class, and I really felt uncomfortable about it.
Yep.
And we talked about it, but it's kind of
we
where
felt like the Class A's were just going to be so much further above our budget. We also found out that the gas Class A's are not as significantly more expensive than the C classes as we thought they might be. So that kind of brought the A class into range for us. And as we looked at more comparisons that people had written online and like started to look at stuff, it kind of became a bit more of a reality that we would get an A class.
You know, looking for C classes, Spencer would pull up RV Trader and show me some. We knew we were going to get a used one, and so he'd show me online these RV Trader listings. And one day he called me down, and I totally thought he was like pulling my leg, because there's this beautiful Holiday Rambler RV Vacationer, the one behind us, on the screen, and I was just like, what? Are you kidding? And he's like, no, I really think we can do this. And he was super jazzed, and I was like, okay, well, all right, let's keep looking. We reached out to the owner, we got to see it.
Yeah.
It was the first A class that we walked into with intention. I think we saw one or two at the RV show, and immediately the couple was amazing. They were just the sweetest couple, and I was like, this is home. This is it. Like the moment. That's what I felt. We got back in the Jeep, and I was like,
yeah, we were kind of like, this might be the one. And I had the thought of like, well, you don't buy the first one you look at, right? Like, that's silly. Nobody does that. But we felt really good about it.
And so I was like, call him immediately. Put a deposit down. Like, we don't want to lose that RV, because we knew other people were interested in coming to look at it. And so that's it.
That was it.
Like, first one we walked into.
Yep. We got it.
We got it behind it.
It's home now.
The Holiday Rambler motorhome A class has been phenomenal. I mean,
we love it.
It's home. We did some modifications. We've got YouTube
videos
videos
about those, so check
that
those
too.
out here.
But we absolutely love it for our family. Cade loves it. Yeah, it was a great decision for us.
Final question number 6. It's a big one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of advice we could give. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it. Do your research and get a decent understanding of what you're getting into, because no matter how much research you do, once you get out on the road and once you go, there will be things that you learn that you just can only learn through experiencing.
Know yourself, like really set yourself up for success the best way you can. We had never camped before. And so some people had suggested, why don't you rent one and see how you like?
Yeah.
And like, if we would have rented one and had a terrible experience, we wouldn't be sitting here today. We're like a go all in.
We committed to it. Basically, we knew that we wanted to make a big change. We didn't know if this is necessarily the one we wanted to do or the best one, but we committed to going for it because, like she said, you have to give yourself time to adjust to a new change.
But your personalities might be different, where you really do want to get a rental. You kind of want to like try out maybe a C class versus a fifth wheel versus A class. I mean, so I would just say, like, know yourself and know what you think will work best for your choices or how you make choices.
And I would also say, get a little uncomfortable. As much as a
Lunges
plan as you may have, things will deviate from that plan. In
We-
your control and
yeah.
outside of your control.
We've always had a budget. Since we've been married 9 years, we've had a budget. We do think having a budget is very helpful, especially when you're changing from an apartment, a home, a condo, wherever you currently live, to living on the road. There definitely will be some financial shifts
Right,
in where you typically spend your money.
right. And as another part to this question, people ask what it's like now living in a small space and how have you not killed each other yet?
Oh, this is like question 7?
But I will say, well, it's question 6A.
Oh, okay.
Be ready to communicate and communicate well. Part of, that kind of branches off the financial part, like understand where you are on your monthly budget and if you need to pump the brakes towards the end of the month or whatever. But communication is huge. And I would say that is probably one of the bigger pieces of advice that we can give. And communication on all things, whether it's money or whether it's dinner or whether
backing
it's
into a spot,
taking
taking a turn,
activities you're going to do today. Communicate as much as possible because that will alleviate some of the squabbles that can and will pop up.
But whatever your goals are for your family, for yourself, whether it's carving out more family time, if it's taking a new career, start somewhere. Put it on paper and take little steps to start achieving it.
Stop waiting. Stop making excuses for why you can't go after your dreams and goals and start finding reasons and ways that you can.
You always say to me when I'm second guessing myself, when I'm doubting something, you are always like, but what if it works?
But what if it all works
turns out right? Yeah.
Yeah, because there's always ways that something can go wrong, but there's also always ways that it can go right. And if you focus on it going right versus it going wrong, you'll be more apt to fix the things that go wrong to keep on pushing through, as opposed to letting those stop you from going after what you want.
Yep. I think we'll leave you with 3 things.
Okay.
Family is always the most important thing. Those are the people that love you. Those are the people that need your love. And those are the people that should be your priority in life. 2, you'll never regret trying. But you may regret sitting on the sideline, not knowing what could have happened.
And wishing you had later in life.
And 3, we want you to, we hope you do, we encourage you to seek adventure and embrace opportunities that come your way. Open your hearts, open your minds. There's opportunities everywhere. And just got to be ready for them so you can take that opportunity or take that adventure when it comes your way.
Very well said.
I know, right?
I like it.
Who thought of that?
With that, we're going to wrap this video up. But as I said at the beginning, the next time we do a Q&A is going to be in a couple months when we cross our 1-year mark. And for that, we need your questions. So questions about anything, aside from the questions that we answered in this one. What questions
Unless
do you
we
have?
left something out that
Unless
you're
we left
curious.
something out, yeah.
What are you
And be
curious about?
specific,
What do you want to
whatever
know?
it is. Do you want to know what shoe size I am? Do you want to know what hair coloring products she uses?
Yeah, I was gonna use any.
Ask us whatever questions you want to know, and we will put together another Q&A to kind of celebrate our 1 year on the road mark.
Yeah. We've also dabbled with the thought of going live for our Q&A. So if you would be interested in us going live, let us know.
Yeah.
We should pre-record it or go live.
Right. So in the comments below, let us know, 1, should we go live for our 1 year Q&A? And 2, what questions you have for us to ask in that, or to answer. I guess we'll answer them, not ask them.
Yeah, that's usually how it works.
Yep. What questions you have for us to answer in our next Q&A. So we'll leave them in the comments below. We'll put a post on Instagram. You can leave them there as well.
All right, till next time, guys.
Seek adventure and embrace opportunity. We will see you in the next video.